Yo, I'm Budget Monk, and this is my Impossible Skyblock series. In this series, I plan to take this world to its absolute limits. It's just like a regular Skyblock world, except there's no tree, no chest, no blocks, and no other island. But we do have block. This is the real vanilla one block challenge. Alrighty, and we're going to start off with a name job on our glowstone sitting here atop the Church of the Lightning Stone. Our first ever glowstone in the world, and first light for that matter, is going to be named Sirius. Massively thumbed up comment, and that's perfectly suitable. Sirius the Lightning Stone. He's a glowstone, but we can call him Lightning Stone. Yo, do you guys remember when I built these highways everywhere last session, and I told you we're going to reveal it later? Look! I put water everywhere. So that's why I was actually using full blocks instead of half slabs, because the half slabs like become wetlogged, and maybe I could have done it, but yeah, this just seemed a lot more intuitive and easy for me. Look at our new addition to the world. This is going to be known as the Aqueducts, and it is going to follow the entire pattern of the, well, these roads that I constructed. And just like the Church of the Lightning Stone, which I intend to be sort of a monument to the feat of acquiring wood, which one day will look less samey as other things are going to be built out of different materials. That's the intention. This is a tribute to the acquisition of water of last session, and we're going to make our world feel very water-like. So it gives us the ability to fish inside of, guys. Initially, I just thought of this bit. I thought it would be really cool to have like kind of open water above the void, and that gives us the ability to sort of do some bridging underneath and over the top to really add some color and diversity to the world, diversity of looks, which I was really happy with. But I did forget that, of course, water freezes. When I was going into my planning, that's what I mean by forget, when I thought, oh, that would be cool and exciting. Water does freeze in our biome, of course, and that is what the roof is for, but the roof currently looks a little bit ugly. If you look closely, because it merges in with the color of the sky, there's more blocks in there. And they're ice blocks. That's right. So I am going to actually tear down this wooden part below, which is a bit of a chore. This whole thing was a lot of work, but check it out. If we're going to have to make a roof over the water, what better block than more water, or ice in this case? So we get the best of both worlds. And over there I was fiddling around a little bit with different looks to make a kind of a roof above this, because if it's only too high, then we can travel around really, really quickly. Boom, 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 jumping around the world. So it's going to be kind of like a transportation system. And this is where the inspiration of the name, the Aqueducts, comes from, guys, because it kind of has a lower and like less of just like a canal. But the top bit as well, I'm going to kind of build like archways and stuff like that. And we're going to prettify this as it goes on, okay? Now, you might have noticed, if you have a keen eye, check it out. I've got a witch, guys. A witch inside of a boat, meaning it does not despawn. And yeah, when I was up here, as you'll see in a second, I actually acquired a witch. So I wanted to shoot a little time lapse here of the water freezing over. You can see the majority of the water was already frozen by the time I got up on my little perch. But what is interesting is you can see my little world there with Harry in the water source down there under the curtain. That is obviously where I would spend the vast majority of my nights. And although it is a viable spawning location primarily for passive mobs, due to the proximity of my own location, it would be safe during the night, right? And mobs spawn on the outer pads. However, as the sun went down, as you can see, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I actually forgot, you know, like every now and then you have a slip in judgment. I've been up here and I wasn't at my actual setup. I was letting it run for the time lapse as this took a long time, and you can see that mob spawned everywhere. So I was very lucky actually. I was just about the right height that no crisis happened. But this is where, when the sun came up and the skeletons and the zombies burnt up, there were lingering mobs, and including the witch. There's a witch there, guys. And we need to start thinking about converting zombie villages to regular villages. So I decided, I've seen a bunch of witches, but we've got to try to capture this one and get him in a boat. Because that time is coming soon, hopefully. Took a little while, guys, to figure this puzzle out. Initially, I was patiently trying to look for a location at which I could stand and place the boat down from my side. Fruitless, not being able to find any spot where I could reach. I ended up actually walling this little gate off, above it at least, and then cutting through. You can see there I put the boat down behind the witch, and after tasting a bit of this poison and letting it wear off, I was actually able to tap it with a punch from my side, which backed the witch up into the boat. And of course, witches, you know, being inside of a boat, it won't despawn, but it's also not going to burn up in the sun or anything like that. So job done, we've got our witch. Alright guys, got him. So I was thinking of this pad is definitely going to be not very productive for its intended purpose, which is kind of to, you know, spawn mobs, which I'm safe from, and potentially obtain, you know, obscure things like string and shovel and stuff. We're going to have to rely on the other side of the Warhammer to obtain the zombie villages most likely, and of course, more importantly, the real goal we're working on is that gold, the golden apples. But great feeling to have this witch, and it should be around forever, right? It's in the boat, and it doesn't burn up in the sun or anything like that, so very cool. The Aqueducts, that's what's next on the agenda, guys. This is my creative world, and these sort of 2.5 arches here are what the ultimate result is going to look like. Spent a lot of time kind of experimenting with the few building blocks that I have available to me to see if I could come up with something that looks pretty cool, and I'm a fan of it, the finished product. And look how fast that is. I mean, remember guys, like, we came from nothing, right? Or I suppose literally 1 block, so that will be really, really nice and satisfying to have inside of the world. So this is how the aqueducts are going to look when they're kind of finished here on our little map here to represent them. And it involves basically building a second layer roof or a ceiling over all of the highways that we constructed last session, so just tons of wood. Then of course we're going to have to be putting our water down, which is a pretty easy process, to be honest. It does spread pretty quickly. All of the roads underneath the lower layer of water all need to be torn up. Thankfully, I do recover a decent amount of these blocks, as we do use wood as our primary building block for literally everything. So as you can see, I'd say it's probably about 50-50, maybe higher, that I got half of them back, which is really nice. And then finally, we'll be letting the water that we placed on the upper level freeze over, just waiting for it to freeze over. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, guys. It was just a ton of work. It took absolutely forever, and these blue bars are about 400 blocks long, or almost exactly 400 long. To give you an idea, using wooden tools, of course, really, really big job. But I'm so happy with the end result. Here we are, guys. We've completed the main bulk of the work. As far as prettifying is concerned, I've only partially done this line here that separates the Warhammer and the Church of the Lightning Stone. But I'm really, really happy I've done the vast majority of the work. Do you see that wood under the ice along these areas? That has to be torn down when I'm putting up these posts to be able to reach inward. That's still a little bit of work, but I'm really happy. Looking really cool. Completely changing the dynamic of the world. It looks so much more fleshed out and, quite frankly, busy in a good way and a lot more pretty. I'm happy with it. And we're going to go on a fishing arc, guys. Because this can all be fished inside of the aqueduct. That's one of the reasons I wanted water. It obviously didn't need to be so large. 5 times 5 times 5, like cubed, I believe, is actually, this is 5 blocks long, but that is the minimum amount that the water's body has to be able to obtain treasure. And otherwise, there was a whole bunch of things that happened throughout the course of this huge build, and that's what we're going to cover next. As I took my cauldron that we of course obtained last session and used to acquire water, and put it in the snow this time, specifically to capture snow and accumulate into powdered snow blocks. So it's a slow process, but I am spending a ton of time constructing this stuff, and yeah, powdered snow. I obtained a few more emeralds this session, guys, actually a total of 4 in many days. If you guys recall, foxes can spawn in this biome on snow layers, meaning all of these roads and so on, when it rained or snowed, many of the blocks became viable spawning locations for foxes, and keeping an eye out, I was able to obtain a bunch of emeralds, which is better than nothing. If we harken back all the way to the second episode of these series here on my channel, guys, you will recall that you guys in the comments told me to place string down on the ground, and this is actually all of the string I've accumulated in the world, basically since the beginning of the game, which wasn't initially turned into all of these wool blocks and so on. At one point, it was one of my main grinds, right, to just get some blocks. But this is the rest of it, and I've put it all down. This is the opposite side of the witch here on the Warhammer, and it is almost completely covered, as you can see. The intention is basically to make it snowproof, but actually spawn-proof, unlike the curtain, which was a bit of a failure, which is just covering the main square now. But otherwise, yeah, that's one thing I have been doing, is just slowly putting the string down that I've accumulated. Guys, I was just combing over everything, making sure it was built up. And is that a polar bear? Dude. Wow. It's a polar bear. I don't know anything about polar bears. Are they hostile? Dude. Can you lead? Can you lead polar bears? Cool, dude. I'm gonna go grab a lead, and I'm gonna see if we can, like, put him in a little pen, and that might be the beginning of the polar bear dynasty. So I actually realized, I don't know, he's a bit big, but we should try a boat, because he won't contribute to the passive mob cap. No, that would have put him inside, right? I'm pretty sure, because he bumped it. You can lead him, though. No, the boat does not work. Okay. Alright. Let's create a little animal pen here that's mob-proof this. He probably can't fit through a 1x1 gate, which would be cool. I'll put a gate on, but for now this will do. Awesome, man. We've got a polar bear. The lead should prevent him from despawning. Wow, that's really cool. Something that I did not expect or anticipate. It's finally time, guys, once again to progress in the world, and that means moving our way towards, of course, obtaining gold for those golden apples. Here's the finished result, guys, the lightning chamber. As you can see, made of snow, so that it doesn't catch on fire after strikes. That's the idea. And just a simple area that's going to be filled out with piggies, the Frankenschweins, and the copper rod to attract the lightning bolt here in the center. Everything's equipped with buttons to make it mob spawnable proof. And a fun little fact here, guys, little baby pigs can fit through a one chamber here, sort of a 1x1, but adult pig's head is 1x1 in size, and so this little door will actually block them from escaping. Interesting concept here, because we're going to bring babies in, and then they're basically going to be trapped in whether the door's open or not. But that's it. The idea is to just bring the pigs up, breed them, and sit here until lightning finally strikes. But in order to attract the pigs and breed them, guys, we're going to need to have a lot of carrots. Thankfully, we do have the rooted dirt block, which is where our original acacia tree grew on top of the moss, as well as the wooden tools, the hoe, and bone meal from our wooden monolith, the mob farm. So I have plenty of bone meal, and that's the only really limiting factor as to how many carrots I can actually have, which is tons, thankfully. Next up, we're just breeding the pig, taking the baby by attracting them with the carrot all the way up to the altar. And after doing a second and third one and waiting for them to grow up, just hitting a bit of a critical mass, breeding them together. You guys know how it is. And soon enough, I had so many pigs, they were actually cramping in the space. I was starting to see pork chops on the ground and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know how many there are, guys, but maybe a couple hundred. So now that our altar is full to the brim with Frankenschweins, it's time to find ourselves a good time sink like fishing, guys, to keep ourselves preoccupied while we wait for some tumultuous weather. So let's talk about fishing a little bit here, guys. With the basic loot table, just normal fish, I mean, hey, it is food technically, right? And I guess it's raw, but I'm a fan of sushi, so it's better than zombie flesh, let's put it that way. But in terms of treasure, obviously some interesting stuff considering the limitations in our world. I think particularly name tags could be really fun to play with. I wonder about if we could get like a horse or something, or the use of saddles could be really cool. But interestingly, junk, if we take a look at the junk, some of this stuff is not junk at all as far as I'm concerned. So lily pads, for example, a pretty cool block that can only be obtained this way as far as I know, but regardless, it has the utility of making bridges across water and stuff. String is definitely useful because it doesn't actually drop very efficiently or effectively at all from my zombie spawner, my mob spawner. So I can never really do with enough string. It's got so much utility, like turning into wool and all sorts. And the one that really stands out for me at the moment, guys, is tripwire hook, because I can't even make levers, guys. The only option I really have is like a button. So tripwire hooks definitely have some potential utility in my mind. And it actually requires iron to craft them, guys. And quite frankly, I've been a little bit grinded out, and I don't really want to be sitting in my mob spawner just grinding iron at the moment. So until we get a village up, maybe in our iron golem farm, iron is very valuable to us. Right now, in order to progress the world, we obviously need that lightning strike, which requires the stormy weather, which is out of my control. So I'm just going to be fishing up a storm, guys, while I just wait, probably watching something on my second monitor until we get that lightning strike.
Several bad puns later.
After many days of fishing, guys, you can see that I did accumulate a lot of stuff, including some of the goodies we were just speaking about. My ritual was kind of like standing here and waiting for my tree to naturally grow, and then I would go down and cut it down, because despite having so much bone meal, it's actually still valuable to me. And then I had a thought that occurred to me, guys, which is I could be fishing right now in a jungle biome. And if that was the case, then I would have the ability to potentially obtain bamboo. How valuable would bamboo be, guys? It's technically a second wood source. Before we set off though, guys, after these many days of fishing, my cauldron did fill up with snow. And as you can see, I've got a powdered snow bucket, or in other words, the snow that we can put down. Very nice. So using the regular seed, guys, and loading up a world, I did find a jungle, and it's thousands of blocks away, so you guys know how it is. Bridging out. We've done this before, but not a mere 200 or 400 blocks this time. Actually, thousands of blocks all the way over here to the jungle we go. It literally took like an hour and a half, guys, to bridge it all the way out here, and let alone the thousands of half slabs that it took. But we've arrived at the jungle, as you can see, and so I quickly built a 5x5 little fishing pond, and there we are. We can now fish with the rare chance of acquiring bamboo. As I was peacefully fishing, guys, it started to rain. And then it dawned on me that if a thunderstorm happens, I'm completely out of position. So I started moving back towards the altar. Oh no, not like this.
Run.
As the sun came up, I knew for sure that it was still thundering, guys, because of the luminosity and how dim it was. And no lightning strike, which is a stark contrast to my creative world where I tested this setup. I really started to feel like something was wrong. And I was right about that. Some people are probably screaming at their monitors right now, but lightning cannot occur in cold climates. Yes, that's right. Lightning strikes do not happen in cold biomes. How crazy is that? I didn't know that. I actually had plenty of comments telling me that my whole wooden world is going to burn down due to a lightning strike, so I guess that's not true, because lightning doesn't happen. The good news is, guys, I got bamboo like immediately after that. Like, for real. As soon as I walked back to that spot, I started fishing and I just got it in like 30 seconds. So that's awesome. Job done, I suppose. So this is the first full unique block I've obtained in the world for a while, guys. Brand new, the bamboo block. Soon I'll be making the museum where we begin to represent some of these blocks. We're kind of getting towards that point. But for now, guys, if you could go ahead and name the bamboo block in the comments down below. What do you think is the coolest name? This is the moment at which we unlocked our second wood source. I'm really glad that I grabbed the sand from that wandering trader, because it's the only access we have to sand in this world. Because each one is a viable plot, as you can see, for our newly acquired bamboo. I am going to use some bone meal here to speed things up. But of course, this basically self-autonomously grows. It's not the fastest, but it does grow, and that's awesome because I can kind of plant it and go, work on something and then replant it, and then we can hire it all by just tearing this down. So cool. So, each addition to the world in terms of blocks and stuff is an absolutely amazing addition. I'm so excited about it. But now let's talk about all things bamboo, guys. So bamboo, of course, as you guys know, we've got our bamboo block. And those blocks, it's not like an oak log. It is similar. They only turn into 2 wood. But it's still really, really, really cool because of the way that we can obtain it faster and somewhat passively. I just like any kind of passive progression is really satisfying, right? But having an alternative source of wood, guys, has some really exciting perks. Like, for example, you're going to see this a lot in the world. Not only is it going to eliminate the sort of samey feel of our world where everything has that same oak plank vibe, but it also allows you to do this, for example, extremely efficient stacking upwards as the 2 different blocks don't stack upon one another. You're going to see a lot of this in the world, guys, because it really allows us to go vertically in an efficient manner. But of course, we also have access now to all sorts of bamboo things, such as real scaffolding. Really, really exciting. What a blessing, because with only our wooden tools, it does take a long time, and it is really tedious to construct stuff. For the sake of longevity, guys, I simply just cut it out, but I just rebuilt the altar along my little pathway here in a non-cold biome, as close as I could to my main base. And that did mean, of course, dragging baby pigs out here, all the way out here, one at a time, and it did take a while to get the ball rolling again, but I got a lot of the Franken-swines out here in this altar. And then it was just a matter of more stalling until the weather turned south. Oh, man! Oh my gosh, there it is. I didn't even know it was thunderstorming. Let's go, dude. There's just one lightning bolt out of nowhere. It's nighttime and I can't tell if it's... Okay. So... Oh, jeez. Oh, here we go again. Okay. You know what I need to do? My bed, of course. My bed. Stop the... all my plans go out the window when I'm overwhelmed like this. Oh, they keep getting hit! Do I get the items if they die to thunder? Okay. Dude, I completely choked there. Okay, there they are, guys. So I should be able to just stand here and... Oh, they're actually dying to cramping. Lol. They're all just forcing themselves into this one square. I thought maybe axes were the way to go, or maybe bows were the way to go. But looks like the sword's going to be just fine. Look at some pigs are still back there as well. Perfect. I did have our backups here, so I don't need to bring more piggies out. Oh my gosh, guys, there it is. Look at this. 4 bars. We still have pigs remaining. That's the awesome thing. I mean, I might need more gold, but I can just get straight back to doing this again. And look at all these gold nuggets. Wow, feels awesome. I merged some of these swords together because we have so many. I don't know if we're going to get that much use out of the swords. How many iron ingots is this? So an apple requires that much. And I'm going to need 2 gold apples to make a villager. So I actually need to wait for a second thunderstorm, guys. But nonetheless, this is the absolute best proof of concept. I have gold. We've got gold in the world. Awesome. So that took 222 days, but the next thunderstorm, we're going to have 2 golden apples up and running. And you know what that means, guys. For next episode, we're going to be producing villages, all kinds of villages. Oh my gosh, that means maybe an iron golem farm coming up. I'm so excited. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in another episode.